Hey everyone, guess what? We're here again. We're here with Scott Spiers, clean and sober stoner. Scott has a fantastic, fantastic show focused around Doom. You should all get to know him. One of my favorite things about Scott is we all go through our trials and tribulations, and Scott has come out the other side and is assisting people in coming out the other side. I want to say that I love you for that, Scott. I think that is fucking amazing.
Thanks. It's like I'm waiting to come out the other side, though. The shiz. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so wild. We are so like as a country, we care so little about mental health. It's like, come the fuck on.
I don't know. Like, if you've seen any of my interviews with John Gist, I don't think that's true. I think we keep electing people into office who have these different priorities, but because I deal with it, I'm immersed in it, I'm on Facebook. I mean, mental health is probably in the top three conversations. If you take politics out of it, I just don't think culturally we quite know what to do with it. Take for instance, like on YouTube, the life coaching industry and the people who, I mean, this is a multi-billion dollar, enterprise. So I think as a country, we just don't know what to do with it. We keep electing people who just kick the can down the road. Does that
I
make
think that's a
sense?
I think that's a very fair statement. And it's funny. My biggest pet peeve is people arguing over politics because I look at it as like the people we elect aren't out for us, they're out for them.
Right. Well, they're out for them and they're out for the people that are funding them. So, they're the ultimate DEI hires, right? They are. They fit this very narrow niche thing. Both sides, by the way, both sides. It's kind of it, you know, we're just embroiled in silliness. It's like we're a bunch of children right now at recess, and things have gone too far, and there's going to be blood on the soccer field. We've gone from being, oblivious children to very angry tribes. So interesting. It's like the old Chinese curse. We are in interesting times. And I cover music that just dives into that. The
Yeah.
Stoner Doom Underground, all spectrum, everything. But we've got you covered. If you have anything in life that hurts, it drags you down, you're bummed about, you're outraged, we got you covered and without tremolo picking.
And the cool thing is, like this year was year one for Planet Desert Rock Weekend for me, where you and I met.
Yeah, yeah.
And the the feeling of family
It was incredible. It
surrounding that.
was it was it was incredible. It really fucked me up. It did because that was such an overwhelming experience on so many levels that yeah, it was bizarre. And I'm as far as YouTube goes, I'm nothing but not being able to walk across the room without people coming up. And again, the mental health stuff. And,
Mhm.
they're drinking, they're smoking, they're doing all this stuff. And, I put in that one video, I was that close to smoking weed after 32 years. And they circled the wagons, right? They're keeping me from, but they're still passing around the joint and they're still hitting their stuff. They just have their hand out going, no, no. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, it is, right? Like it's so funny that people are like that. They're like, I'm gonna smoke. Like I know you're in recovery. Stay the fuck away from it.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's the opposite of what 12 step. It's the exact opposite in my experience of what AA and NA, the echo chamber in those groups say. I found it's been 32 years. My strongest advocates have always been people who are using or drinking, which is heresy. I may get bolt of lightning, the spirit of Bill W is gonna that of the NA Nazis will hear me. Very protective group of people. Very yeah, very close knit.
yeah, it's funny, people in addiction, I think in addiction or even around that world, they understand like what it's like to be
Yeah,
in it and how fucking hard it is to get out of it. So they're like, hold on, no, no, no. You
yeah,
talk to
yeah,
anyone in active addiction talking to a kid and they're like, no, 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 stay away from this shit. It's really
yeah,
bad as
yeah.
they're doing their coke or whatever,
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can go to your local NA meeting. That's where the drug dealers are. They're waiting out in the parking lot or the methadone clinic. So, boy, I'm just gonna make sure I lose my license and lose my everything. But you know, there's such a facade to the whole idea of recovery and mental health as a whole. You can tell I'm like 2 years from retirement, right? Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw all my little bombs out, and you know, on my way out, I'm gonna be kicking and screaming.
fuck all you guys.
Fuck all you all. I got the original title of my blog before it was Clean and Sober Stoner was Recovering from My Recovery. And I was going to cover headphones. I wanted to do headphone reviews, political commentary. I never in a million years expected this thing called Clean and Sober Stoner to again, yeah, I'm not, but it's shocking how many people do relate to it and have responded to it. I hate, you know, exploitation, so I have yet to effectively exploit it.
We got to get you moved on down the road a little bit then. Come on, exploit the shit out of it. I think it's, I think it's really fucking cool that you're doing it and that it's called Clean and Sober Stoner because I mean, you and I both know in this world there is so much not even just the stoner doom world, but just like the music world overall. There's so much drug use and alcohol addiction and to
Yeah,
be I don't smoke weed, I don't drink. I'm relatively sober. So it's great to go to a show and see other sober people.
it was weird. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'd say the overwhelming majority of people there had a buzz on. But
Okay.
the amount of people that were completely stone cold sober was kind of like surprising even for me. Like I think I know stoner doom culture. I didn't know shit. And my head is still I'm still trying to process what happened, what didn't happen, and what that experience was like. It was the most spiritual experience I've had in since 95 and probably it could rate as the all-time most impactful experience I've ever had as a human being was that little thing that John Gist, threw at those clubs. What the hell? They were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think like Count Vamped, I really liked being there because they had tables and chairs to fucking
They
sit
had
at.
to, like you couldn't like the area to stand was like this
Just
big and the rest of it was all tables and chairs and it was just so the opposite. Now the bouncers were a little hardcore. Like I planned on getting full footage of full sets of bands. So I had a gimbal, a tripod, I had all this stuff. They wouldn't let me use it.
I
It's
I
like no
I did the
sticks.
same thing. I
Like
bought
what the
those little
hell?
I bought the fake GoPros. I was like, I'll give these a
Yeah,
shot. They were like $30 a piece,
yeah.
and I the first guy let me in, and then
Right,
you
right.
know the main guy was like, nope, that shit's got to go. I'm like,
I noticed one thing, and this wasn't fair. They didn't even look at JJ Kozan. He just walks in like he owns the place, and
yeah,
I don't think he got harassed at all. JJ doesn't. By the way, huge shout out to him.
checking out the
Basically, I
best.
got to
Yeah,
watch 3 days of music sitting next to JJ Kozan, and that alone was worth the price of admission.
yeah. It the relationships that are made there
Yeah,
are I think second to none because
yeah.
of course you and I met there and fucking I don't even know how many other people I met there, but I still talk to shit. I know it's only been a few weeks, but I still talk to frickin' everyone I met there.
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, I'm like there's so many people that I remember because there were very distinctive people there. The women absolutely gorgeous. There's just something about the stoner slash goth thing, that it just works. You know what I mean? And the dudes, I am still making Facebook friends with people. Hey, I met you like yesterday. I listened to this. Okay, quick story. So I find my bands in weird places, right? Like as a Doom charter, I get an email, I get all these emails, and I'm like, eh. So bands reach out to me, but I'm looking on Instagram, I'm looking on Facebook, and this band called Wicked Rain just had a picture of two orange cabs, and Reverend Fuzzcut corrected me today. I think it was an ENG or ELG. Have never heard the angle. And they're saying, hey, their first gig's March 18th. Well, when I see something like that, and by the way, the cabs were pristine. You could tell the Tolex, they were probably buffing it, it's just so perfect. So I figure I'll give it a shot. Nobody has bought this album on Bandcamp. It came out in September, and I listened to it, and it would have been solid top 10 for the year. It's
Wow.
just so mind-bendingly good from start to finish. Every aspect. It's like a band's third release on Ripple Music. It was, or Blues Funeral or Small Stone. And in fact, I put all the labels on blast in the post. I said, man, you guys need to check this band out. It was awesome. That's how I find my shit.
That's I think that's the best way, right? Because it shows two things. It shows one, you actually have an active interest in
Yeah.
finding the music out there, and two, that what they're doing works. Obviously
Yeah.
it got out there somehow, some way.
Right. And
Uh,
then, I don't want to call them out, but you go to their Bandcamp page, there's no bio, there's no lyric, you don't know who they are or anything. They're just dudes, right, who put the thing on Bandcamp and, you know, and it's just random chance that I found them. And I before I forget, that's how I found virtually every writer that works for rights. It works. That implies we can pay. We're not
right.
there. But all the writers, I think everyone except for Blake, I found on Instagram. They're just fans posting stuff up and they do a little thing. And I'm like, hey, did you ever think about writing? And next thing you know, boom, I've got, I think, 8 people.
Hell yeah.
We're bringing on a new guy. He's from a band called Midnight Whiskey Massacre. And just this really extremely primitive, it's like proto Lemmy. It's like what Lemmy would have listened to when he was nursing as a baby, and it formed. It's just really great stuff. He's over in Great Britain. So Darren just submitted an article. I'll print it soon. Again, found him on Instagram. So the community is just bizarre that way that it's so huge.
Yeah.
And you find things you just never know when you're going to find things. By the way, it turns out we were at Planet Desert Rock with the bass player for Wicked Rain. He was there. Like I had talked to him, and it's like it's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's so that's so fucking awesome. But like I said, sounds like it was your first time there too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't go to shows. I can't. So yeah, that was just. But Sergeant Thunderhoof playing the United States. What am I gonna do? Now, I don't like shows. I don't. They physically and mentally harm me. But I wasn't missing them for anything. The funny
That's
thing is, every band that played there was worth going for the same reason, right?
yeah.
From Sam Aveo opening the thing, just every band, and then Germ, Jesus. I'll never get Germ out of my head.
I literally like that was the band I probably did the least amount of research on, and I
Right.
was like
Yeah.
it'll be what it is, and they were one of because I had a couple of sets that just blew my fucking mind, and they were one of them, and I would like my buddy who went out with me, he was just like we're in awe watching them fucking play. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It was an out of body experience with 200 of my closest friends who I hadn't met yet. I mean, I've seen a lot of bands, man. Yeah, I saw King Buffalo before their second album came out. I mean, not bragging, I'm just put it in context. I've
Yeah.
seen. So Germ is on the same level as Elder. Germ. Geez, yeah, that I'll never forget that. And it feels weird to remember that a month ago I was there and
Yep.
that I saw that because it's surreal. John Gist, the way he the way that he curates these things. And now the bastard, he's bringing one of my like top bands, Saturna from Spain, is going to be there next year. I'm like, you son of a bitch! Now I
I
gotta
got
go through this all again.
I got to go back. What the hell is going on? Yeah.
I don't know. It's up in the air. If there's a lot of space between here and there, but
Oh yeah.
chances are, I'll be on.
Yeah, as soon as he announced the first few bands, so my buddy Reagan
Yeah.
went out with me, and he's got a label here called Third House Communications.
Okay.
And so I'm like, hey, dude, check this out. And he's like, I guess we're going again. Let's fucking do it.
I think I'll probably stay at a different hotel than where I stayed.
Where'd you stay at?
I'm not going to say the name, but I'm not going to say it was a seedy hotel, but it was, there's this dividing line where Vegas is safe, Vegas is not safe. I was in the Vegas is really not fucking safe area of Vegas. But, it was cold. So, yeah, I just scraggled up my beard, put my hoodie on, and I blended right in with the
Yeah.
scenery. If I was a college kid, it'd be a great place, and they did have putt-putt, in the courtyard. Um, yeah, I'll have to do things a little different next year
Well,
if I go.
listen, if you decide you're going to go out next year for sure and 100%, let's look at doing a fucking Airbnb. We could do like a 3 bedroom Airbnb or something.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. We can invite 200 or we can have our own after party.
Our own party. Come on back. Like, oh. Yeah. So obviously like Germ, man, I'm still blown away with their set.
Yeah.
What what other bands like really stood out for you?
Shit, seeing Godzillionaire was an understanding, what's going on physically with Mr. Hennessy. That was like I've seen a lot of again, we've all seen them. Like everybody out there in YouTube land, we've seen the performances, right? Man, Godzillionaire, because they're just dudes like us, and they go on stage so professional. They sounded so damn good, and they have the whole place. Like I walk around, I look at the audience, and just mouths or people are just staring like they're watching David Bowie from like the early 70s. Godzillionaire was transformative, but I saw fucking Solace. Okay, so bucket list band, boom, down.
I'll tell you a funny story about Solace. I literally was like, oh man, I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And my buddy turns to me and he goes, dude, you've seen him before. I'm like, I have? He said, yeah, I used to fucking throw shows. So he used to throw shows here in Louisville. And at one, he traded shows with a promoter in Cincinnati, or they would connect each other with
Hmm.
bands. And one of those shows was Solace.
How long ago? Like, was it with
Like,
Jason or was it?
like 20, probably 23,
Oh,
20,
okay.
23 years ago, something like that.
Oh yeah, so you would have seen an original Solace with Jason doing Man Dog. That was the only disappointment was they didn't lean into the early Jason material at all. But it was still them,
Yeah.
and then Sergeant Thunderhoof did not disappoint.
No,
They're
they,
almost too good.
yes.
They're too good.
Like, which is fucking wild. Like, and
Right.
Dan and all those dudes, super nice. We were, where were we? We were at the record store down a couple blocks away. And here they fucking come. And Dan, like, they look in the record store and Dan's like, hey, Tom. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
Dan,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. You interviewed them, right?
Yep.
That's how I discovered your channel.
Oh,
I was doing a search for Sergeant Thunderhoof and then the band. It's like this is the best YouTube channel name I've heard. I have to throw that out there.
thank you.
It just sucks you right in. So now they're expecting a band and they end up with my goofy shit on here. Sorry folks, I'm not a band. Uh,
Bullshit. Scott is a killer promoter of bands, which is
ah,
in the same world. Like you love
ah.
to do it, and we all see it. We all appreciate what you do, man. Uh,
That's so hard. I make, I can't, I almost said I make a living, but, I say that to people all the time, so I don't want to hear that shit.
I know. It's like no, I just
Yeah, I
Let me
just
be
do this
humble in my
for,
corner. Yeah.
yeah, I do this for 40, 50 hours a week. It's like I never expected that I would work this hard at YouTube, put this much time into it. So yeah. How about this? Thank you. That was nice to hear.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude.
I'll model the behavior.
It's nice to have fellow brethren in the same world.
Well, it's also nice to actually hear you without having to shout.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
conversations did we have where basically, we needed American Sign Language or
Yeah.
although okay, we are not sponsored by Apple, but I'm gonna do a video on this. The AirPod Pro 2s are the best earplugs I've ever had in my life. I forgot
Really?
mine. I left mine at home. They're always on my key ring. Well, I wasn't driving in Vegas, so I left my keys. So that Thursday morning, I'm like, oh shit. So I ordered some from Amazon. Then I did some research, and the research said give these a shot. Holy crap! Because they really muffled everything down so I could hear it. It was like a decent volume. But when I spoke to someone, now it would focus on the conversation. It was cool.
Oh, that's fucking
Oh,
cool.
these things are amazing. So yeah, I'm talking to you and I'm leaning in, like this with the because yeah, these were great, but we couldn't talk. Like we would try and then somebody would get your attention or
Yeah.
somebody grab mine and it's like, okay, okay, I'll see you down the road.
Yeah. Like I'll see you in a little bit or whatever that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like, yeah, because it was constant,
It was.
But there wasn't a band in my mind. There was not a band all weekend that I would say was any sort of disappointment.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'll admit there were bands that I didn't connect with as much. Like that wasn't the style I was in the mood for, but that didn't diminish the fact that I'm seeing a world-class band
Right.
putting on the show of their lives. Like I would love to and probably shouldn't say this out loud. What I might do is like interview some of the bands from that weekend, just the perspective of their experience, what it was like for them to be there. Because, like Mr. Bison, geez, there's another one. That band was their albums need to sound more like their live stuff. I can tell you that. That they should do. Somebody is recording, Ritual King is recording an album live in the studio. I think it's, some of their older songs. Every album should be recorded live in the studio, every single one. No more amp modelers. Run through the amps, get the mics up. Let's go old school.
I like it when bands do that because it
Yeah,
definitely it translates that live experience to album because the hardest thing for me is to have a really good album and then to go see a band and they suck.
right.
Like, hold the fuck on. How did if you can do it on, recording, that should somehow translate live.
I think Stoner Doom tends to do that. Like Caius is like I saw Caius in '93. Accidentally, I was there to see Faith No More. But when I got Blues for the Red Sun, it sounded exactly like what I heard on stage. And up until the present day, seeing Elder, who I'm seeing again in a month, Elder sounds better live than they do on their recordings. They
Agreed.
they they sound clearer. They're just the intensity level, the dynamics of Elder, King Buffalo, same thing. Like if all you've done is hear King Buffalo albums, some of the best ever recorded, regardless of era, unless you've seen them live, you haven't heard them. That's
That
what I love about modern music. So the big guys, so we're going to read articles about the Eagles aren't actually singing. No kidding. Like that is the fakest of fake band. It drives me nuts. The whole controversy of Kiss and you see this on all these bands. Okay, today the modern stuff, forget falling in reverse and everything's on their
right.
computers. The modern rock bands have brought it at a level, and the technology allows you to do it. The front of house speaker system at both clubs was the best I've ever heard, and it wasn't 120 decibels. Yeah, it was about 110. 112. It was still loud as hell, but it was so crystal clear. You could hear the guitar player fart on stage,
Oh yeah. Yeah, they
which
did. They
I
had
think happened during Unita.
and that was another set. That was a set I was really looking forward to. And the way they started with fucking Michael Jackson, like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was disappointed in Unita for like, I'd say 15 minutes. I'm sitting there going, I'm listening to a bar band do Unita. It's good. Something happened with them. They shifted into this next gear and like holy crap, the performance of that band was that was top. How do you top that?
Right.
I can't wrap my head around how good that band, even though they had all those technical malfunctions, we had the 5 minute bass solo, and I didn't care. Like that bass player's smoking.
Oh,
You
for
need
sure.
a
The night of their set, I talked to Arthur. I probably talked to him for 20 minutes, like after their set, or maybe it was before their set. Well, then the next night, I run into him again, and he's like, "Hey, dude, it's great to finally meet you in person." And I'm like, "You don't remember fucking hanging out with me for a half hour last night?"
well, like I said, not everybody there was sober.
No, he was.
He was?
Yeah.
No shit. No
Yeah, but
shit.
it was like that first night in Count Vamped was so fucking cold. Everyone was like all bundled up, like at
Everybody,
least I
yeah,
was, you know.
yeah.
So I think the second night he saw me like I didn't have my jacket on, and he's
That
like,
makes
"Oh,
sense. That makes sense. Makes total sense. But yeah, they like, wow, we could just do the whole thing on Planet Desert Rock, which is fine because everybody's still writing and talking about it. The Heavy Underground Farm Report is still doing it.
man, he
JJ,
just had like they just had that show, two shows I think with Godzillionaire and fucking Luna Soul, dude.
mhm, mhm.
Ah, I would have loved to be at that. Like both those bands absolutely rip.
This is a great time to be a fan of heavy rock.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's change gears for a minute because this
Okay.
is I saw a video of you earlier and
Oh no, not that one.
yeah, you just
No.
I'm not gonna say exactly what it was, but
Go ahead. Go ahead.
it was just you being vulnerable,
Oh,
talking like coming through the things you deal with. And I wanna like
yeah.
the thing that I'm most curious about is what for you, what was that the catalyst for you getting sober?
Oh, why did I get sober?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Like that was no mystery on that one. So, I had a multi-year history methamphetamine addict, multiple year history of weed. But I gave up, especially the weed for the alcohol. So what happened was my tolerance got so high that I could drink 2 cases a day. I'm not kidding. Like I was drinking to roughly a point 0.4 to a point 0.5 level. And then when I went to sleep, I'd get down. I I do this for a living, so I know the calculations. If I got down to like a 2.4 or below, which that in itself is 3 times legal limit, I'd go into withdrawal. And that happened for a solid week. And I was like, man, I don't know how the old timers handle this shit. So a girl, of course, called me and said she loved me anyway, and she was coming from extreme northern California back to where I was living. And she's like, I want you to stop drinking. I love you. And I'm like, okay, I'll stop drinking. So I did. And the next day she's there and we're holding hands and stuff. Well, while she was in Northern California, while I was drinking, I was talking to this guy, we'll just call him Chuckles, about my and her's relationship. Turns out he's the cousin of the father of her children. Yes, it's basically trailer park stuff. So she goes from I'm with you forever to don't ever call me again. And I was devastated. It was like 5 o'clock at night, and it's like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? And that's when I had a white light moment. I fell asleep, woke up, and I didn't sleep for like 3 days after that. I should have been in the hospital, but my reaction to the alcohol, the physical withdrawal, I had delirium tremens, I'm vomiting, I'm shitting the bed, the whole thing. That was enough. It got through to me.
That,
So
I feel like that would do it for most people.
you would think, but yeah. So yeah, I jumped heavily into 12 step at that point. But really, I looking back on it, I should have been hospitalized. Like during the 12 step call, the dude says, because I'm like, I haven't slept in 3 days. He says, well, nobody ever died from a lack of sleep. Correction. Correct. No, no. I
Yeah.
should have
Yes, they
been.
have.
I should have had Valium, or they should have brought me down. Um, so yeah, and it sucked because I did a hardcore, NA, Northern California. So no medication, no therapy or anything. And yeah, that was rough. That was a rough 2 years. So the drugs told me that I either had to stop using them or I was gonna die. And so in that sense, it was like I have not had the desire to drink since August 8th of 1992. Now, weed, different matter,
Oh yeah.
which I also addressed. But no, the alcohol thing, that was enough to convince me that, ugh.
Well, that's cool. It's cool that you got sober because I know it was never, like I said, it's never really something that I struggle with, like the addiction with drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I've always been, I can take it or leave it,
Yeah,
wherever it
you
is.
and 90% of the rest of the population, whoever drinks or smokes or snorts. Truth, it's another heresy.
I don't think it's 90%. I
Oh,
feel
it
like
is.
of course, again, I don't know because most of the people I've always been surrounded with are, you know, they
Well,
drink a lot,
well,
and
yeah, yeah.
so I don't
Okay, I'll
know.
give you 80.
Okay.
I don't mean
That,
to minimize the severity. It's just there's so many horror stories out there, and
yeah.
I'm like, the horror stories aren't helping, man. They're not.
No, they don't. And that's
They
like
don't.
it for me. I love it. My little brother struggled with addiction through God, through his entire, I would say, from the time he was a teenager until he passed away at 40. And it wasn't like it was always alcohol for him.
Yeah.
Once he would do good and not drink. I think his last like sober stint was 8 years,
Okay.
and he fell off the wagon, and it was all downhill from there. And like he died in 19.
How long? Like here I am now. I'm gonna go into mode.
Sure.
How long after he went back out? How many months?
Almost 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
Yeah.
The-
And he
it-
didn't die from the addiction, right? Or from the alcohol. Um, this is I know that he took his own life.
okay. Okay. Oh my God.
And what, like, for him, what I think happened, because I can only piece together, I
Right.
only get little bits and pieces, is his son was staying with mom, his mom and her husband, and for like a week. And so Pat, my little brother, went out with some friends. I saw him. So he lived in Michigan. I live in Kentucky. We saw, who did we go see? We went to see Goat Horror, Battle Cross, The Convalescence at a show in Michigan on Saturday night. We had breakfast with my best friend, like my family, my best friend and his family, and then my little brother. Um, so we all had breakfast Sunday. I came home Tuesday and Friday got the call. So Thursday night, what we pieced together is he went out drinking with some friends and was on his way home. I don't know if he stopped at a store or what was going on, but he got into an accident. I don't know, clipped someone or some sort of accident, and it threw him into a tailspin. Absolutely freaked out because the last time he got arrested for a DUI. He did 8 months in Oakland County, Michigan, and then
Oof.
he got transferred down to Tennessee and had to do another like 6 or 7 months down there. And while he was in jail in Tennessee, his son was born. He went to a tailspin, and
Yeah, that'll do it.
he didn't call me. I wish he would have, but he didn't
Yeah.
call me. He called a few people, and the next thing, Friday, I get a call. I can tell you it was like 3:29, 3:26 p.m. Like right, it wasn't quite 3:30. I get the call, and I'm just like, fuck, all right.
That's a lot to piece through and figure out. That's a boatload, but the laws being what they are, nobody should treat somebody who's got those issues, where you put them in jail, then you transport them, to another state. And it's like the whole idea of punishing people. There should be consequences, but I'm sorry to hear that. That riles me up, actually.
I mean,
Um,
but it's an unfortunate part of the world, right?
right, and it's
Like,
it's getting bigger because right now there's a huge movement, both left and the right, neoliberals and involuntary incarceration, involuntary commitment it's an issue I've been following closely, but I'm in contact with some pros that are. And we're headed down a road where it's just gonna get more draconian, it's gonna get more harsh, you know.
yeah.
The dude just needed some fucking help. He just needed some help. And the assurance that his life wasn't gonna be totally fucked because he eclipsed,
Well, and
ah,
that's, it's in my mind, he was also dealing with some other issues that weren't being treated, right? That led him down
yeah,
that path. And it's
yeah,
that was probably the hardest thing to watch my siblings and my mom go through, is like, he's the fucking baby. Yeah, I know he's the baby. He has always been the baby. He will always be the baby. What did we do, right? Like, as siblings, the times we had those conversations with them, hey dude, let's do
yeah.
this. And of course, I probably feel, thanks for being my therapist today, Scott, by the way.
I'm doing a horrible job. By the way, anybody watching this, like I'm off guard. Like I can't turn that on, and I don't want to, but I just want to be
No,
there, your friend, man.
yeah, it's just, I think for me, well,
Yeah,
part of my issue was, like, I drank, and it wasn't every night, but like I would hang out with them, and
yeah,
like we'd go see a band. Well, shit, I go see a band, I'm gonna have a beer or two, sometimes six or seven too many, like, uh, but he would be there and he would be sober, and I
right.
think that ended up like weighing on him, and helped him. And I'm like, you motherfucker, like, do
Yeah,
better, do better.
you do better. Are
Yeah,
you,
me.
you're blaming yourself on that one?
I just said I feel a little bit of guilt because of,
Yeah, it's I
you know,
can go to you can't you don't have that kind of power over anybody else. Okay, yes we do. Yes we do. I get that. Like that makes sense and that would definitely I know for me that would weigh on my shit. It weighs on my mind now.
yeah.
With other people that I've known. I mean, friends and acquaintances, I'm not gonna say they're dropping like flies. Like I'm Lane Staley and we're gonna do an album about it. Um, but no, I get that guilt and a part of me thinks it needs to be there to a degree because
Sure.
it lets us know that we're not psychopaths, that little tinge of regret. So as a therapist, I wouldn't try to get rid of that.
No,
I
I
try to
I
go,
don't, like, I'm 100%, like, I did after he passed away. I'm so thankful for my wife. I love her with all of my fucking heart, because he passed away, and I was I was not in a good spot.
well,
I
yeah,
didn't I didn't do shit. I just kind of gave up. I didn't work
yeah,
for like 4 months, and finally she was like, I'm laying on the couch one day, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take the kids and go to the park." And I'm like, "Cool, see ya." She's like, "Listen, I'm not gonna let you fucking lay there," right? She kind of forced me to get up and get out and start doing shit. And yeah,
yes, yes,
I'm like, and I'm so thankful to her every day, because I
yeah,
know if she would have left, maybe not that day, but one day, I think I would have been in a spot where maybe I didn't come out of it,
Yeah,
you know?
that's it. Yeah, that's literally how it works, right? The spouse and the relationship and the interdependence between the two. Music as a therapist, I can blah 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 1 hour, like 2 days a week, at the same bat time, same bat channel. It doesn't mean shit. The only thing that matters is what happens outside of the therapy session. And I gotta drag them in kicking and screaming, but I make it a point to at least put the invitation to meet with every single spouse, regardless of which gender I'm meeting with, because that's who the real therapy happens with,
Yeah.
right? It's not me. I swear to God, that isn't me being humble and no, no, no. All I do is poke and prod and ask questions. The real recovery happens in the family. So good, man. You're one. I didn't expect you to ask me about my personal recovery. I wasn't ready for that. And then we went down this, and then you give me the. It's like a Led Zeppelin song. It's like
Yeah.
this is a song of hope, and now we're like it's me one on down the road.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Well, it's I like having these conversations because I think there are a lot of people out there that
Yeah,
like most of us, right? We don't understand they don't understand everything that goes around it. And
yeah,
I I am 100% with you when you can go to therapy and therapy's great, like if you feel you need it, go, please. Sometimes if you don't feel you need it, you probably need to fucking go too.
right. In
But
fact, here's my Psychology Today profile. We'll link that in the comment. I'm kidding.
so, but then it's the community around the person.
Period. Period. Period.
Like,
There's so most people like we've heard about addiction and alcoholism from the rat studies. We've all heard the stories about the rats where, one of the water bottles is filled with cocaine solution, the others with water. And
I
the
know
rats
exactly what you're gonna fucking say
the
because it
rats
goes
will
from,
the rats will drink the cocaine water until they die, right? So next thing you know, now we have dopamine theory and they're addicted to it and all that. They replicated that study, and it's in the book "Chasing the Scream" by Johann Hari. And I've double checked and triple checked. It's just my memory is I think I want to say it was Johnson, but when you don't know the study, you just say, "Oh yeah, Johnson," etc. Anyway, they replicated the study and they instead of cages, right? They put carpeting in there and they put little couches and it was a comfortable place. And the rats wouldn't touch the cocaine.
and it
They
wasn't
wouldn't.
just one, it
It
was a
was yeah,
community.
yeah. It was a community. So when you isolate a rat or isolate a human, and the only option is the cocaine water to feel, of course you're going to go for who wouldn't? You'd be crazy not to. But environment, community associations, that at the end of the day, that is the solution to the whole thing.
I, I
In
think,
most cases, with
I think,
the right medication, right? So an opioid addict should probably take methadone or Suboxone. An alcohol patient should probably take Vivitrol, or actually Suboxone also works for alcohol. Least effective dose and socialization. And that's where 12 step is ahead of all of us. I'm very critical of 12 step, but you do have a community is twisted as I think it can get. Nothing replaces that. So I
right.
think you're totally right. And it
Well,
starts in the home.
they did I don't remember, it was either Harvard or Yale, and they did a study over 80 years with people with the same kind
Mhm.
of in the same vein, but it wasn't focused on like drugs or anything. It was focused on community. And
Right.
people who were isolated were was it 87% more likely to come up with mental health
Yeah.
issues than
Yeah.
people who were surrounded with
Yeah.
community.
My best friend, Al, who I've mentioned in a few videos, that's his big thing is the loneliness epidemic. And what I try to point out to him is there's such a high percentage of people suffering from the loneliness epidemic that if they simply chatted with each other on Facebook a little bit and they'd find common ground, and next thing you know, boom. It's
Yeah.
just that's a very simplistic way of putting it. But it's also kind of true. And that's what we found at Planet Desert Rock Weekend and at the other festivals. I think that's why heavy metal fans, there's numerous studies on this. We have higher resiliency, higher coping skills. We have the same amount of mental health issues. They're just less severe. Like it's simply more managed. It's the community. And so wow, now I feel really inspired. Now we got from Led Zeppelin to Iron Maiden. Now we're now we're gonna take over the world.
We're fucking everywhere.
Right. With the and I love the Cannibal Corpse behind
Oh
your
yeah.
head. First time I ever heard them, it's the only album of there's only a recording. I think it was Nativity in Black. They did Zero the Hero by Black Sabbath. And it was like, okay, that's fun, but it didn't.
I'm I'm like I'm all I just love music as a
Yeah,
whole.
yeah.
And when I was I don't want to say super young, but I was probably like shit, late 80s is when I really started getting introduced into like death metal. So
Oh,
preteen.
perfect time. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking the golden age of death metal.
Yeah. And Cannibal Corpse, I think it was 92 with Tomb of the Mutilated, which was my introduction to them. And I was like, holy shit, what is this? And I still every chance I get, I go see them live. And I just went to see 6 Feet Under, who Chris Barnes,
Right.
left Cannibal Corpse and started, and he sober 2 years now.
Yeah, but you're bringing up a great fucking point. And there was I wish I knew I need to find this. I need to find this YouTuber. She's a therapist on YouTube, right? And very prim, very proper. Of course, drop dead gorgeous and blonde, but really critical of death metal, right? And she took it upon herself to do a deep dive into the lyrics of death metal, into the culture of death metal and the fans of death metal. And she came out of this a complete fan of
Awesome.
bands like 6 Feet Under. It was about Slipknot specifically, which isn't death metal, but Slipknot, has that very dark, angsty culture behind it. Totally cathartic. Totally that's the healing property that I think heavy metal more than any other. I'll throw it out there. You want to talk about really fucked up scenes with rampant alcohol and drug abuse? Country.
Oh yeah.
Country is crazy with with drugs, alcohol abuse, the whole 9 yards. But they have that image, except for, the outlaw dudes like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and of course the man in black.
Johnny Cash. Oh yeah.
I'll tear up when I talk about that. He was a heavy metal fan, man.
Uh, you know, it, I think there are a lot of people out there who are heavy metal fans and kind of going the other way. Like I told you, I love all sorts of music. Well,
Hmm.
Dave Matthews, I need to preface this right now.
Yes,
I
you
am
do.
not I'm not a Dave Matthews fan, even today. No.
Dave Matthews, he was so awesome though. Did anybody outside of Hootie and the Blowfish write a smoother, better, easier to listen to song than Dave Matthews? Master songcrafter. I'm not gonna listen to him, but I respect where respect's due.
So I he did release one album that I enjoyed, and it was his acoustic album with Tim. Shit, what's the name of the album's Live at Luther College, and
Ooh, okay.
it's just those two, and
Okay.
fucking phenomenal. Great album.
Wicked ass guitar player, by the way. The
Yeah.
Duke can wail. The Duke can wail.
Well, so Dave's playing Bourbon and Beyond this year, and my
Okay.
wife loves Dave. And I said,
Perfect.
she's always trying to get me to go. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you want me to go see Dave at any point, this is probably the scenario that will get me there. Like Tedeschi Trucks is playing.
There's the hell of a show. Hell of a show.
And
Hell of a show.
I'm like, I will go. So I actually went with a friend of hers and her friend's friend a little earlier in the day because she was, I don't know, taking care of kids. She was doing something. And this band, the Red Clay Strays, were playing. And her friend's like, oh, I really love this band. And we go over and we watch. And I'm like, who in the fuck is this? And she tells me, and I'm like, dude, they are awesome. And she looks at me like, what? I'm like, what? Like I really like it. I think they're fucking good.
Yeah.
She texts my wife, oh my God, Tom likes something besides metal.
I I took so for birthdays in this house, it's about events. So I booked a country concert with some. I didn't know anything about Jason Isbell, and I think the 400 or 42, whatever it is. So go to this country show. It's country. Jesus, that was the heaviest fuck thing. I couldn't, the opening act, I wish I could remember the dude's name. He's like 70, 80 years old. Just total stoner. I could see John Garcia, singing for him. Amazing. And then Jason Isbell, I felt like they tricked me and I'm seeing barrenness because three guitar players playing at a level I can't even wrap my head around. The most professional show. Jesus, that band was smoking hot,
You need to
smoking hot.
figure out what band that was.
Jason Isbell and I'll tell you, I'll tell you.
Oh, I was thought you were talking about the opening band.
The opening band, it was some dude, Hispanic name. I'll figure it out at some point. I'll give you a little shout out, if I
All right.
remember. I have a very long list. This is
Yeah.
honestly, it's gonna be here. I've got I've got bands that gave me Doom Charts codes, and I just realized I haven't given them to the Doom Charters yet. Smoking,
So
smoking set outside of metal and outside of Stoner Doom. And I don't care what the label, what the genre is. We've never lived in an age with this kind of good music. And it's like it's an
agreed.
embarrassment of rich. They can't make any money, right? So the posers can't make it. I don't know if people have wrapped their head around. The only thing that's left right now is either AI generated crap on Spotify or musicians who really, really care. The ones who want to make a quick buck, they all have their YouTube channels and their podcasts, and they're doing other things. I don't think Katy Perry would be able to come up and make it today because you actually have to
I,
play.
I'd have to say, like, as far as like heavy rock goes, I agree. I think we're in the best time of all
Yeah, of
for
all time.
heavy rock, and I feel like what we are witnessing in this realm, stoner doom, the psych, all of it. I feel like now we're watching it really start to blossom.
Yeah,
Like what did we see? High on Fire is they're they're like fucking rocking, dude. People are absolutely in love. The
winning.
the Obsessed getting nominated for Gilded Sorrow. Like, holy
Yeah,
fuck. I can't tell you another time where anyone in this vein
right.
has been up there.
I put up a video. It was a clip of one of my things saying that Stoner Doom is inevitable. It's not if this will happen, it's inevitable. And I think that it's like a caldera, not necessarily a volcano, but a caldera, the sunken things where
Mhm.
so much pressure gets built up and it's all underground. And eventually, um, I think we're going to see it, and I think we're going to see it in the next few years. There's some likely candidates for it. Castle Rat, I think, is the. If I had to pick one band who's going to cross over and actually, end up on Jimmy Kimmel Live instead of just Knocked Loose, can you imagine the American audience seeing Riley Pinkerton with her costume? Man, instant hit. The girls are going to love it.
I thought it was
Um,
fucking crazy that Knocked Loose got
oh,
up
it was
there. Like,
totally crazy.
what the fuck?
And don't get me wrong, I hate that shit. Like as soon as I listen to that noise rock stuff, I'm like, ah. That doesn't mean I don't respect it and love them. It's just my
Again, the live show for
really,
them,
really.
oh,
How's their live
100%
show?
out of
I
this
don't know,
world.
man. That
Like,
might pound my brains into submission. Look, I'll admit it. The younger generations, Gen Z, even Gen A, coming up now, they're way too hardcore for me. They're too good for me. They're
I
they're
I stand back by the wall. Like,
They're doing things today that my generation could only dream of. There's so many, only so many times I can listen to, 70s music classics. It was great. It was more original than today, sure. Were they more experimental? Sure. But the musicianship today, the composition ability today, the recording ability today is light years ahead of where most of those classic albums at. There's some exceptions. Back in Black is still Back in Black. So, okay, boomer, relax, relax. Yeah. Me being a boomer, I can say that. Um, but yeah, but I think it extends across all music genres, and it's just there's so much of it it's hard to find, and that's where channels like you and I come in.
yeah,
Of throw out the little, we throw out the breadcrumbs. Hey, check this out. How check this out. Hey, check this out. And okay, so we only get 100, 200 views. 100, 200. Are you kidding? For these up and coming starving artists, that's like godlike.
yeah.
Oh my God, 200 people heard my song. Damn right, Mooger Fooger, and you deserved
Right.
it. So,
And that's, the coolest thing is having those conversations with those bands
yeah,
who uh aren't jaded with media, like
yeah.
they haven't done 4,000 interviews. You get to have a conversation. I actually had a conversation with a band. Do you like Temple of the Fuzzwitch?
So Blake Carrera, he's with Stay Dead, which is a big super group, and also with IWAS. He wrote an article for me. I think I put it on Monster Riff. Temple of the Fuzz Witch saves rock or something. As soon as I hear those vocals, as soon as I hear the blackened stuff, I freely admit, I kind of go,
Okay.
I respect
That's
them, I love them.
that's
They
why I
just,
asked that though,
yeah,
because like I think with that, that's something you either like or like it's not for you. And I asked that like that particularly because I know you know who they are.
yeah. I mean, they're one of those bands that if they keep doing what they're doing, probably going to be talking about them with the same reverence, that we look. I'm not going to say the obsessed because that's legendary stuff. But there's that's a band that could easily, if Knocked Loose is getting on Jimmy Kimmel, I don't see any reason, because I think Knocked Loose would be the gateway drug to something like Temple of the Fuzzwitch,
I
which would be a
agree.
further gateway back into here. So, and by the way, Temple dudes, I love you. It's just I can't like everything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't love. Wait a minute, I can't love everything.
that is
So,
true.
so
Well,
Blake is hanging like behind my shoulder because, like, I will gladly give up the bigger bands to Blake and Gypsy on the channel. Mine is I like the relentless search for Blood Lemon, for Banshee, um, Snake Mother, who unsigned band. I got the interview with them, and now they're on with Ripple. They just recorded an album with Dave Ketching. It is Tooth, another example. Um, but Thou is an example of a big band that we covered. Thou is pretty respected and
yeah.
pretty well known. So I gladly hand over, and we have a big one that I literally cannot tell you. But we have beached, we have hooked the great white whale. We have a whale coming in. So Clean and Sober Stoner, be sure to like and subscribe, over there, and of course like and subscribe here. Um,
It's going
we
to be
do
Matt Pike.
we do have some bigger we do have some bigger bag. You're not gonna Good try. No, it's actually not Matt Pike, but you're not far off, so it's big.
So, do you know Blessed Black?
I do, and I appreciate seeing the shirt. They're one of those, all of a sudden everybody's talking about and referencing Blessed Black, so respect dudes.
They are so fucking good
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
I actually met the front guy Murph. He where were we? We were at a cattle decapitation show in,
Good family entertainment there.
yeah. So we became friends, and I'd never heard Blessed Black before, and they were playing with Fairy Ring, and
Oh, there's a
they,
band.
oh,
There's
dude,
a band.
yes.
There's a fairy ring. New one should be out soon.
Yeah. Did you see the liquid filled vinyl they put out? They didn't
No,
do, I don't know how many copies they really did, but I think they did under 20.
really?
Yeah. And somehow I stumbled upon it. And so I messaged him. I was like, I hit Kyle up. I was like, dude, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh, I just put five of them up in on Bandcamp. And I'm like, woo, yeah. Get over there. Sold out. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, dude, they're sold out. He goes, get over there. I'm putting two more up. I'm like, yes,
I
that
love those
motherfucker.
guys. I
Yeah.
kept trying to interview them 2 years ago, but they were delivering pizza. And that's what kills me. That album is
Weary Traveler. Yeah.
coming up on 2 years. It's still is as good as anything that came out in 1974. I don't.
It's just absolutely fresh. And those
It
dudes,
is.
I don't know how they fucking do it, but every time I see them live, I am dumbfounded at how fucking good they are.
It's a matter of time before I see them. I think Ooga Booga's another band that's getting the same attention, and Aura Layer would be another one I'd have to throw into that mix. And a lot of these people are barely old enough to drink at a bar. Like these are young, young, young. These are young uns, man. They're vintage Sun 300, 3000 amps, and
So Blessed Black is playing with Fairy Ring, and I dig into it, and I'm like, oh, I fucking actually like those guys too. And I get there, and of course I know Murph is the front guy, so we chat a little bit. He's like, "Hey, thanks for coming," and they fucking blew my mind. Like, dude, I loved you guys before, but now I fucking love
right.
you guys. Like, holy fuck. Well, Murph quite often does tour managing for High on Fire.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
It's a small world, isn't it?
Uh, Yeah, dude. He
You
like
have no idea. You have no idea at any given moment what one of these Mooger Foogers is doing.
so for my birthday last year, High on Fire was in Detroit, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna go to Detroit. And I'm like, hey, dude, you gonna be there? He's like, yeah. Are you gonna be there? I'm like, yeah, I'm going up. It's my birthday show. And he's like, fuck, I got you. Guest list. I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, this is fucking cool. Just hanging out, like watching a show. And he texts me like, hey, where the fuck are you at? I'm like, I'm on the other side of the stage, dude, just hanging out in the crowd. He's like, come here, come up here. Fucking side stage, get to watch these dudes just absolutely fucking rock the whole night out, dude. I was so fucking blown away.
You know, there are people obsessed with getting front row, right? You can't hear shit, right? Like if the bass monitor's here and you're there, the side, that's where I love to be. Any chance I have to be either up in the balcony watching or over to the side, that's where I am.
Yeah.
That's a great story, man. All and Blessed Black, who would have known? I had no idea.
So
So
I hooked them up with my buddy Reagan, who was out at Planet Desert Rock with me. And he's, of course, Third House Communications put out Seasons Volume 1 on vinyl, which you guys need to go fucking buy. Not many copies left. Volume 2 is
you
getting
heard it
ready to
here.
come out.
Just go get it. And it comes out soon, right?
Volume 2, I think, should be coming out in the next couple of months. And
Okay.
then Volume 3 is not far behind it, but Volume 1 is out, and they're, I think, running low on fucking copies.
That's good to know. Of course, those of us into the digital realm, no hurry. Just get it, download it. It's there. Like you vinyl folks kill me. I do vinyl, but for display purposes. Like I get vinyl sent to me, a lot. I haven't I was one of I couldn't wait for CD. I hated vinyl. I grew up with the skipping, the
Always loved it.
in the grooves. No, no, I was so hard up. The first CD I bought was oh God, Paul Simon. The album had just come out, Graceland.
I've got that on vinyl.
So the first gen CD player sounded like crap. It was all tinny. It sounded I didn't care. I didn't care. It's like there was no it was like solid pitch blackness in between the tracks. So
Yeah.
all respect to you vinyl guys. I got 6,000 albums right here, baby.
Dude, I wish I could do that with my vinyl. That would be so freaking great. It's so, of course, it obviously vinyl doesn't travel well. And how the fuck do you put a
No,
record player in your car? You know?
you can right, right. That's why you have eight. Now, if they brought back 8-track tape, that would that I listened to Styx. It was because of Sunil Singh, who wrote Sonic Seducer. It's a 400-page book on the heavy underground. He put up this thing about something about Styx, the Grand Illusion album, and I was like, man, my favorite off that album was Castle Walls. And like right in the middle of Castle Walls, that's when the 8-track would go over to the different. So I'm listening to this for the first time in 40 years. I swear I can remember exactly where it went. The same with Queen, A Night at the Opera, and Prophet Song. You know,
Well,
as a
funny
boomer, I
story,
couldn't wait to get away from that stuff.
dude. Well, I grew up with it too. I'm
Yeah.
not quite your age, but like 70s, 80s, vinyl was fucking everywhere. I remember the first vinyl I bought. I remember the first vinyl I ever
Okay.
got.
What was your first vinyl?
First vinyl I bought was Motley Crue Girls, Girls, Girls.
Okay.
First,
Okay.
that was the one I bought with my own
Well,
money.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I
M-
was like, yeah.
Mine was Black Sabbath Volume 4.
Oh, what a good fucking album.
And I wish I still had it. It was the original Warner Brothers pressing, solid dark green. I'd killed to get the original British Vertigo. But yeah, and that started my love affair. And like my next album was Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah, my
I
selection.
remember I remember buying Iron Maiden's first album based on the cover alone. You know, like 2 days after it came out, it was still on the
S-
cart.
Slayer Live Undead.
There you go.
I was like, I love that cover. Let me rephrase that. It wasn't Slayer Live Undead. It was Undead Live Slayer. What
Okay,
they were kind of, I think the Undead were kind of pissed off at Slayer for doing Slayer Live Undead. So they
right?
kind of mimicked the cover and changed the words around. And
Good
I
for
was like,
them.
oh, I was like, I want a fucking Slayer album. Like, I need another Slayer album. And I bought it. And I'm like, this is not fucking Slayer at all. I loved it, but it was not Slayer. It was the
What
Undead.
was it?
It was the
It-
Undead. They're like a punk band.
got it. I say I can't just we venture into the areas where my brain goes.
Yeah.
Dude, I had saved this. I need to get going here in a minute.
Then yeah, let's get it. Scott, dude, I've had a lot of fun chatting with you.
I just could do this all night, so you're gonna have to do part two on my channel.
I'm down whenever you
Like
want.
anything we didn't talk about, because I know I really wanted to talk a little bit about my PTSD attack at Planet Desert Rock.
Yes.
Um, you know, I'm still experiencing aftershocks. I finally was able to get, I think, 7 hours sleep 2 nights in a row, like Sunday night, Monday night. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it again today. Um, so yeah, let's pick this up. Probably won't be until late March or April. But we've got to do part two, man. This is a blast.
Hell yeah.
Except I just I get to I'm so excited I don't have to edit, right? And I don't have to ask the questions, so I'm just like all over the place.
Like free. I'm
I'm
free as a
free. I'm
fucking
free. I can
bird.
say whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about the editing. Oh, good God, the editing.
It's okay. I don't edit. I just fucking put it out there.
No,
Yeah.
all that stupid shit I just said is gonna be out there in YouTube land.
That's how we roll.
Man, this isn't live, right?
No.
I did one that was live. I didn't realize it was live. I found out when I saw, oh, it's live and there's people. I'm like, you mooger fooger.
So I had John Campbell from Lamb of God got on and we were talking, I
Yeah,
was like,
you get the people.
well,
Jesus, you get the people.
so we're talking, and at the end, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna edit this so I don't look like a fucking fool, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, you have no clue that I don't really edit. Like we record, and if there's something really bad, I'll take it out. But
There's something to be said for that. And so we have, I guess I'm not done. We actually hit monetization 2 weeks ago on YouTube, first round. So
congratulations.
I don't think nobody cares how hard that is, right?
Oh
But
no.
it's a big deal for us, right? We hit our 3,000 hours. We hit our, and we're painfully close to the full 4,000. So we're going to have memberships. I'm strongly thinking about taking, putting the unedited stuff. It's just my interviews, we tend to go places unexpected. So once they figure out I'm a therapist, and it naturally goes there. So some of it I take out. So I'm thinking about in a membership only, just having access, to the whole thing. Besides, everybody needs to see me and JJ Kozam for an hour and a half just going at it. First
Yeah.
time he and I had ever spoken. And JJ's one of those people is like, it's like I met JJ 200 years ago, but we just did now. Great guy, love him to death. So so yeah, I edit, dude. I edit. I get all the ums. I take the ums out.
Mhm.
I want to make the band look good. I take my stupid icebreaker jokes. I get them the hell out of there. Yeah, I say shit that I'll regret forever, man.
Oh, I do too, but it's just fucking out there. It's no worse than I've done the rest of my life.
Well, I love your I wish as a YouTube creator I could spend more time watching
Yeah,
other creators. Can I do a couple shout outs?
absolutely.
I think there's one channel that I think, and if you don't know it, you need to get off here and just go. Her name is Nika Rogers, and it's Nika Rogers Metal Nation. And she's also a therapist, right? With her own metal set. Like the algorithm sucks, right? So the algorithm is, I have to find you all, right? I found you searching for Sergeant Thunderhoof. Like it's ridiculous. Nika Rogers has, you just have to see for yourselves some of the people that she gets on there, and she's great. Like she's a solid interview. So shout out to her. My partner Sean Patrick Brooks at the Heavy Underground Farm Report. He should be bigger than I am. The dude, he just gets stoned. He gets wasted, and the band is stoned. It's just stoners talking stoned, but it's great stuff. And of course, Bobby at Monuments of Ruin or Inherent Wreck, he does this thing on the Doom charts like every month. He is wild. He's got the best content of anybody in YouTube heavy metal. Bobby has the best content.
Hell yeah. Well, let's do this. Guys, go check out Scott's fucking channel and all of the shit that he's doing and all of the other people that he mentioned. And Scott, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this tonight.
Oh man, it's my honor, my pleasure. And again, I don't have to edit, so yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. Fuck you guys.